Hello, gentle viewers. This is Guardian welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 24 with the Oakland Athletics. In our previous episode, we did a lot, I think is the safest way to put it. This is an almost completely redesigned lineup with over half of the players coming from other places. We have new designated hitter Tim Wall, who we acquired in a trade with San Diego and should hopefully provide some much-needed leadership. Mike Baccio was another trade, also at San Diego. Apparently San Diego is my favorite team to trade with this offseason. So it would hopefully stabilize left field and give us a little bit of consistency. Also, the salary looks really expensive. I ain't paying for 80% of it. Ishmael Alanis was a very interesting trade where I traded several mid-tier prospects, 6 of them in point of fact, well, 5 plus Alfredo Mesa, to get a pretty damn good second baseman. Like, I'm pretty chuffed with adding him to our club. Also, by the way, not paying his whole contract. DeWitt and Herbertson we know and love. Brad Rice is low-key one of my favorite additions of the offseason. He cost me $0. But he's got enough secondary offensive characteristics that I think he could be not just good, but a potential star in the making. Aiden Trudell, another trade. This time instead of San Diego, I chose San Francisco, who's got a lot of really good upside and is a nice all-around right fielder. And then we have Jesus Barrera and Shawn Mintz, also starters, although Barrera shifted over from second base to shortstop to fill in for the departed Santiago Luna. Our pitching staff is quite similar to last year's, with the addition of RJ Edwards into the rotation and Wilfredo Rivera getting his shot. So it's been a lot. It's been a lot. And I'm really interested to see how we do this season, given so much turmoil. There's also an important thing to note. We have quite a bit of money available for extensions, however. We've also got some people wanting some decently sized raises. I don't think I'm going to bother re-signing Chris Riggins. He's kind of on thin ice this year. If he performs at a high enough level, I'll consider it. But I'm not going to pay him a lot of money if he's not going to be a good pitcher. A really, really good pitcher. I think that's it. I guess everything you need to know about how the offseason went. A lot of things happened, to say the least. Let's play some baseball. Boop. Who did I DFA? Oh, all these guys. Okay. Andy Daly suspended. Gross. Bobby Guerra and Edgar Soto both got lots of home runs. That's fun. Look at that. We predicted it, guys. We predicted we'd get hurt. So far, it looks like I was justified. Not that we're having an amazing season, but give it time. We got to let the lineup gel together and let these amazing players perform. I mean, Jesus Barrera is leading the league in hitting, which definitely is a bit of a surprise. Any wild shit happening here? Not really. Fiorello Sotelo is getting worse. That's kind of gross. Dane Safford could be a useful player. Gregorio Salgado got Pitcher of the Year. Are you one of the people I've traded? Is that why you're on my list? Yes. You were part of the Sam Feeney deal, which I still think I've won, by the way. Another 3 weeks to see Mesa. It's April. I'm not going to mess with anything yet. Let's get some meaningful sample sizes, and then we can start figuring out ways to improve the team a bit. Amazing. Tommy Tassi is back. Go to the minors. That's where you belong, trash. No. I mean, I think he's kind of a trashier pitcher, but wow. Andy, my boy. You're reaching like a Georg Hunt levels of snake bit. I've got to be honest with you. Oh, I can finally fix this again. Now that we're done with the KBO. I hope you enjoyed that series, by the way, if you've been watching it. To play and there we go. Nice. Okay. It's Rogelio Morales. I don't see any reason to call anybody up other than him to fill that slot, so we're going to do exactly that. Mike Ellie is really close to being Major League ready, and he might be ready right now. I just want to let him develop a little bit longer before I make any drastic changes. Let us finish the month of May. Give me 2 whole months to evaluate how players are playing and where we need to make some upgrades or changes to... I mean, 16 runs is a pretty great start. Davini, could you not, please? You did pick a fight with a good player, but you only got eliminated for 2 games. For him, for 2 games. That's kind of lame, dude. We just hit like 30 runs in 3 back-to-back games, so that's pretty wild. Let's see here. Alani's got a little bit worse. Pamphile got a touch worse. Bork got worse. Alani's got worse. Not saying too much got better, which makes me a bit sad. Brad Rice is Player of the Week. And Tim Wall is Player of the Month. What are we looking at so far this season? Well, a bit of a mixed bag. We've got some really good hitters this year. But nobody is really hitting at a super duper high level. That's the big difference this season. Tim Wall is perfectly fine. I'd like him to be a little bit better than he is, but I'm not annoyed by him, really. Robbie Herbertson has no power. Hopefully that gets fixed, because that's kind of yikes. Sean DeWitt is fine, if not spectacular, but he is pretty solid. Alanis looks cooked. Brad Rice has actually been really nice. Rice is nice, in other words. Mike Baccio looks like trash. Trudell, not so great. Mintz, well, he's here to play defense. Jesus Breyer's having a good season, which is fun. But, like, as a group, this lineup is pretty yikes. I don't know how we're actually 5th in runs scored. I genuinely don't understand it. Pitching staff looks pretty good other than Sam Feeney. Mr. Feeney here is struggling a little bit with home runs. Hopefully he can figure that out. Bullpen looks great. Defense looks pretty solid. Overall, this is a pretty competitive team. We're just not getting consistency out of our top line hitters. I don't really have any high-ranking prospects that I'm willing to give a shot to. Okay, Nelson Mitchell is already running out of time. I'm going to force him to start in Double-A now. Like, we have to challenge him. He's 21 years old. We have to let him really try hard if we're going to get good stuff. I don't think there's an obvious choice to replace any of my current outfielders. I don't think there is. I could trade a pitcher for a hitter. I still think Braxton May has a decent chance to be a starter, so I'm not going to trade him. I think Wilfredo Rivera's got a chance to earn his way back into the rotation, given a little bit of luck. I want to open a spot for Mike Ely. I just don't know where that spot comes from. I just don't know. How do we upgrade it on the outfield? How do we get a top-tier starting outfielder? Do we just wait with Trudell? Or do we try to acquire a veteran outfielder? Who's on the trading block that is a fielder of outs? Alfredo Mesa, ironically, we could bring him back. That'd be funny. The Bishop could get him for like pennies on the dollar. These are mostly guys that don't really impress me that much. I mean, Jahispert Sessions isn't bad, but I think we're kind of better off just trying to let Baccio and Trudell try to bounce back a little bit. I think Alanis is the most disappointing, though. Because Alanis had, even last year when he wasn't his best, was still a pretty productive offense or center second baseman. He is not that this year. So hopefully he can bounce back a little bit and give us some good ABs. This is actually a good opportunity to shut down Bobby Stoll and call up Mike Ellie. Mike Eli? One of those two things. But yeah, I think Mike Eli has earned himself an opportunity And this is a great audition for that. Plus, we bring Bobby Stoll if we need him later on in the season. I think that's a really smart idea. We can see what Eli can bring to the table. He can bring a big old ham to the table. Just a giant motherfucking ham. I'm not gonna bail you out of your your crunch for a player that isn't that much better than Brad Rice. Bobby Stoll is now back and healthy. And Eli's actually relieving anyway, so we can go ahead and return him to the minor leagues and bring Bobby Stoll back. Dunlap, you dumbass. You dumb shit. I think our other issue is that we just have so many players that are so similar, which we've had this problem before, right? We don't have anybody breaking out, showing that they really do deserve all the attention, all the glory, all the good stuff. Luis Trujillo casually learning right field and being terrible at it. Juan Padilla is an amazing defender, but I don't think there's enough else there to really warrant a promotion. Hey, Nelson Vigil for the first time has actually improved his overall rating. That's pretty cool. Okay. Jonathan Dunlap, in a lot of ways, is a perfect reserve outfielder, but I never want him to start. You all suck. Like, we're still struggling to hit consistently. Like, Baccio is probably below replacement level. Trudell's not much better. I think with Trudell, at least I can send him to the minors and let him develop a bit more in AAA. But then I need a new starting outfielder, and I don't really have one that I can trust right now. What if I traded Jonathan Dunlap? No, I don't want to do that. Tim Wall's been good, thankfully. Tim Wall's been okay. I think I trade Navarro. I think Navarro is a far better player to trade because Dunlap at least has some offensive capabilities. Remember some other player that people would find intriguing. What about Gordon Aishala? It feels like every year I look at him and I'm like, he might be okay, and then I just never promote him. No, because I still think he's got a chance. I still think this guy's got a chance to actually make the big leagues. I think Sergio Carrillo is probably the most unnecessary person on this roster. Maybe we could trade Kurt Phipps for an outfielder. Oh, there is Jesus Saldnar, if I'm willing to give him an opportunity. Let me trade Kurt Phipps. See if anybody would give me an interesting player for him. That isn't just a salary dump. Yeah, not bad, but not great. I don't want Andy Santa Cruz. I already know what he can offer, and what he offers is not enough. I don't want Jimmy Younger. I can't afford that. I've had Eddie Williamson before. I'm not eager to repeat the experience. Akihiko Fukuda is interesting, but not at that price. Yeah, I'm not that interested in any of this shit. I will take Ignacio Bustos. I think this is fine. Kurt Phipps is never going to play for us in the big leagues, so that's reasonable. I don't hate that. Let's trade Tommy Tassi. No, let's trade Georg Hunt. And see what that gets us. Nothing. That's fine. Tommy Tassi, surely somebody's got to want him. Surely somebody. No. Nobody wants him either. Well, fine. Jesus Mary. Man, I don't think he's ever going to be that great. I think trading him is somewhat reasonable. Ugh! I don't have anybody to trade. Because here's my problem. I can't give up on Josh Lynch yet. Not until I'm positive that Brad Rice is the answer. Although, admittedly, he's had a phenomenal year so far. I'm pretty chuffed with Brad Rice's big capabilities, and I think he's a good player. Is he that bad at first base? He's not good, but I don't know why his WAR is so low, other than the fact he is playing first base. We're getting to the point where unless Robbie Herbertson plays out of his damn mind, Nelson Vigil has the inside track and just being handed third base out of camp. And I'm not sure that that bothers me. I'm not sure that that concerns me. He is playing phenomenally well at Double-A, which is good to hear. What do I have that I can trade? What do I have that would interest somebody enough to give me a good player without crippling my own farm system? Because remember, while the rotation looks really good right now, Bobby Stoll could opt out after next year. Chris McDevitt, I'll almost certainly pick up his option. I don't think he's going to be part of the team in 2045. So we have two pitchers that are going to be out year after this year. I could try trading Chris Riggins and try to get an outfielder that way, but I don't want to add anybody that's not going to be a good long-term outfielder. Ronnie Small. Actually, Ronnie Small is quite literally one of the best people I could move. Somebody's going to want him to try him being a catcher every day. And that team's not going to be me. So yes, let's try to trade Ronnie Small and see if I can get some offensive prospects that way. I will add in... Oh, I can't search for regulars. Let's sim one day and then I'll search for regulars. Meh. Really? Max Yonin sucks. Excuse me. David Ceballos is not good. I could bring Amari Hasbury back, which would be funny. I feel like making choices because it would be funny, though, is not sound baseball strategy. I don't hate Raisel Manning or Rice Manning. That's a possibility. He usually doesn't play the outfield. Greg Bells is okay. It's nice having a little bit more. If I can get Vic Zientara and Greg Bells, then I will make this trade. Where is Greg Bells? There he is. Here we go. Done. And then we can call up Armstrong and make him the backup catcher. I think that feels good. Let's sim on down to the first year player draft. Okay. The current chemistry is content. Letting Cooper Goldby go could be good. Doesn't have a great relationship with many of our position players, ironically. So I do think actually Cooper Goldby walking makes some sense. We can both upgrade the... We can upgrade the coaching staff, but also make it more effective. Let's go ahead and offer all the minor league managers an extension across the board. Michael Soto is good enough to keep. I apparently never got a AA manager, which is just a high A manager, which is just funny. Let's promote Leighton Hiller. And let's get a new dude here. Rojan Cleofa, you're in. What's up in 2043? I do want to keep Leighton Hiller for a level of continuity. That's fine. Michael Cooper is a fantastic pitching coach. I think we have to keep him around. Angel Matos isn't so great. I think he could be replaced, and we'd probably be a little bit better off. But everyone else can stay. Also, my contract is up at the end of this year. We literally have a top 10 farm system, which I think will only get better after this draft. depending. Who did I DFA? Oh, you you guys both got to go to the minors. That's right. There you go. Done. Done, done, done. Done, da, done, done. Okay. Let's talk about the giant sack of cash burning a hole in my pocket. If we want a top tier prospect, it's got to be either Josh Alford or one of the two pitchers. Let's start by looking at Alford. Josh Alford, low key, is a really good prospect. He's going to a good university. He's got a really high hit tool that if it develops, he'll just be a good hitter that happens to play catcher. He reminds me a lot of Avila from the Pirate series. And he's durable too. There's a lot to like about Josh Alford. Sam Blakely is a ginormous kid. He's huge. 6'9" is wild as hell. Good mix of pitches, not super smart. Maybe. Josh Hassett is super smart. A very nice mix of pitches here, but he is a side armor. He's got 4 good pitchers, though, none of which is a straight fastball, which is kind of interesting. I just think Alford has to be the choice. I need offensive talent in the system, and I need it yesterday, and so I think Alford makes the most sense. So let's take Josh Alford. Final answer, done. Sam Blakely in the second round is a really good pick, and I think we have to make it. But I do want some outfielders and first baseman. Savion Baptiste is pretty solid. He's a decent all-around player. Jimmy DeBoard is one of my favorite classes of players, but I don't think he's a great fit. I think I'm going to take Blakely just because he's such a good prospect, especially given his height, that I think it's worth taking the risk of losing out on somebody else. Johnny Vetter is power and nothing else. I don't think that's going to fly well in our park, ironically. I do think Luis Garza is a good choice, though. I do think Luis Garza, being a good all-around hitter with nice base running and okay defensive tools, makes him a pretty good fit for a team looking to improve their athleticism in the outfield. Done. Sam Brubaker is fine. Ron Jackson is slightly better than fine, but only slightly. I'm going to take Sam Brubaker. Yes, I'm going to take Sam Brubaker. Done. Final answer. You're fragile and you don't throw very hard. I don't think that's a good fit for this team. I like Chris Guevara a little bit better. All he needs to do is work on his control a little bit, and he could be one of the better relievers in the league. He's flawed, but we're in the 5th round. A lot of these guys are flawed in one way or another. Who has the best pure contact potential left in this draft? It's probably Jaron Morning. From top to bottom, I think is the best player left in this draft. He's really good at everything, and so I will happily select him and draft him. And we'll also grab Mike Case, and then that'll be the last hitter I'll grab in this draft, I think. What's his bucket? Nobody wants a Johnny Vetter. That's just funny to me. I will take Andy Brooks. This late in the draft, he actually turns into a pretty good savings. Greg Liccardo is a really good defensive catcher. I think he's a perfect addition to this club. Done. Bobby Daisy Dukes. I can get behind that. Done. And then Mr. McGuire, do what your heart desires. Draft all the players or none of the players. It's up to you. Man, I wish we had more options in the minors. The fact is that we don't. We don't. Sam Feeney's still getting blasted. I don't know how we get better. I don't know who I could trade that would actually make this a better team. Sam Feeney seemed like the obvious choice. If I trade Sam Feeney, I could hopefully get a package of prospects or just a couple of really good hitters. I'm going to try that. I would like a package of prospects to see what that does for me. The thing is, I kind of feel like 2 greens has to be my starting point. And that offer is not being made to me. I mean, Benchman is a really good player. That's actually a real possibility, is that we get Ben Schmidt. And maybe they'll throw in a couple of prospects, if I ask nicely. I get it that a lot of his value comes from his defense, but he is just a really good all-around hitter. Yeah. Ben Schmidt. Easy choice. Plus, he's kind of an asshole, too, which means team chemistry will get better because they don't like him. Could it get you to add in Jorge Lara? Probably not. No, that's probably asking too much. Delivio's not that good. What about Andy Morganti? No, you're wanting a really good prospect to make that happen. I don't think so. How about Vinny Burnett? I'm gonna make the trade right now. Okay. So Mike Eli gets called up. And Aiden Trudell goes to the minors while Ben Schmidt gets to play as much as he wants, basically. Yeah. All right. Okay, so that's one deal that we made. It looks like we put Wilfredo Rivera back into the rotation. I'm fine with that. I think he's earned a chance to show what he can do. And then Mike Ellie can be a reliever. Let us now advance time slightly. I wonder who will make the All-Star team from the Oakland A's. Juan Bardales and Shamar Pamphile. Sean DeWitt. And that's it. 2 relievers and the immortal Sean DeWitt. I'm fine with that. Prospect game, Nelson Vigil is having a fantastic season. I'm going to rush him to AAA. I'm going to add Nelson Vigil right now to the 38-man roster. Here's my thinking. If I make any kind of trade at the deadline, we might want to consider calling up Vigil. Especially over like Sergio Carrillo. Because Carrillo's not that special. Carrillo is a stopgap at best. Giving me John Stevens. I don't need a mediocre reliever, but thank you, though. Up. Demoy on the move again. You've had quite the itinerant career, my friend, ever since you departed the Oakland A's. 12 years with the A's. I think you've had, like... You've bounced around, like, 7 or 8 different teams. But he's still going, man. I gotta respect his love for the game. Gotta respect it. Jimmy Euchre is expensive as fuck. That's a hard no from me, dog. Rosman Verdugo is going to retire. I had him for like 5 minutes. This is not what we call a great major league career. I don't think we even call it a competent major league career. It is one of the major league careers of all time. That's about as far as I'm willing to go. This is a thoroughly disappointing trade market. One Arjona looks amazing, but I know there's no way in hell he'd actually get traded. And I can't afford him either. He's also having a bit of a shit year, I'm not gonna lie. Get Alfredo Mesa back. What if we did bring Alfredo Mesa home? What would that look like? No. Don't even think about it, fuckos. The one player I'm interested in trading is Chris Riggins, because I'm not going to bring him back, I don't think. What is on offer if I should trade you, Mr. Chris Riggins? Josh Harrington is a really good pitcher. That happens to be a lefty. That could be a really great pick for us. David Guerrero, not terrible. I like Edgar Vieira a lot. Hard thrower, decent control, really good movement. Angry, but Iron Man. I think this is the right call. I think it's going to be Edgar Vieira. Yeah, it's going to be Edgar Vieira. Done. What if they give me anybody else, though? Can I get greedy? Can I beg a crumb of prospects, please? Just a crumb of prospects. They've got some really good prospects. I know they won't trade them to me, though. Like, I'm not even going to bother looking at the greens. I'm going to look a little bit lower. Garza's very limited. I could probably get him, but I just don't think that I want him. Masafumi Omura is actually pretty tempting. No, they really don't want that to happen. Understood. Tila Chandler is actually a really interesting player. I wonder if we could grab him. Yeah, I'm down for that. What about Brad Garofalo? Garofalo's a really good defender. He's really, really interesting. No, Juan Toros is one of my few competent center fielders. I don't feel strongly enough about Garofalo to... I don't feel strongly enough about Garofalo to add in a really good prospect for him. Well, there's somebody in a position I've got like way too much strength at. I could drop Vieira to try to get Chandler and Garofalo and then just promote Jordy McGrath. That's not awful, but no, I think we'll drop Garofalo and maybe move down to see if I can get one or two more players potentially. Juan Luna only hits home runs. That's way too limiting. McAllister is a little bit better. Yeah. Daniel Contreras ain't nothing. I'm happy with this trade. Let's do it. Edgar Vieira steps right in, and then... You know what I'm going to do? It's going to seem counterintuitive, but if we're not going to start Eli, I wanted to pitch in the minors. So I'm going to use Gordy McGath to be my other reliever. Because we're not going to start him. I think he's better suited pitching every day in the minor leagues until we can figure out what to do with the rotation. I feel pretty good about that. Anybody else I'd like to trade? I don't think so. Chris Bork. I would have got one more trade proposal. I would have been the one that won me the World Series. Ah, yes, a catcher. That's the thing I desperately need. It's Sergio Oviedo. Look at Eric Lewis adding velocity. That's pretty cool. What is the deal with people? Nelson Vigil. Nelson Vigil is hurt, isn't he? Yeah, he is. He is struggling pretty badly in AAA. Kind of is what it is right now. Wow, poor Gordy McGath. He literally gets his chance and then instantly becomes injured. Poor guy. You're gonna go there. Ooh, Nelson Vigil has improved a bit. Like, low-key, the second that... Oh, my lord. 20-6. That's ridiculous. The moment that that rosters expand, I'm calling up Vigil. I'm going to let him start getting some experience in the major leagues this year. To see if he is a third baseman of the future, or if we need to start locking down Robbie Herbertson. Because Robbie Herbertson hasn't been that exceptional. He's been fine, but that's it. He has been acceptable. Poor Jordy McGath, he's like, fuck yeah, major leagues. Arm falls off. God damn it. Poor guy. Bobby Stoll would be legendarily stupid if he took, if he opted out, I think. I think it happened to me again, guys. I think I signed somebody I shouldn't have signed to a longer term deal, and I think we're gonna pay for it, both literally and figuratively. Um, I want Vigil, Trudell, Lynch, Mohiga, and Anyanwu can all come up to the major leagues and get some playing time. I'm deeply curious to see what you're going to do with Vigil. If you're going to bench him or if you're going to actually let him start. You'll probably the existing lineup alone, which is fine. But I do want to make sure the Vigil does get some reps to see what his future might look like. Our pitching staff is quite good. I'm pleasantly happy about how good our pitching staff has been this year. Although I guess I can't be that surprised. We've consistently had one of the better pitching staffs in the league. We've had a really good run of developing great pitchers. It's really been offensively that we've struggled. Where we've got like one borderline Hall of Famer in Sean DeWitt, and then we've got several other hitters that are in and out or have very short careers with us, or aren't that good, quite frankly. Losing Chris McDevitt for 3 weeks really hurts. That means we're gonna miss him for the first round of the playoffs. Not a fan. Not a fan. What if I did something totally insane and didn't opt in to McDevitt's option? Is that nuts? I don't think it's nuts. The man's getting paid $40 million when he's not worth $40 million. He isn't. I've got enough mid-tier starting pitching prospects that I think we can probably find one. That wouldn't be too terrible. The more I say it out loud, the more I kind of like the idea of opting out of his contract. I really wouldn't trust Luis Ramos. He's such a good defender, but his offense is so limited. I don't think that particular deal is going to work out for them, but maybe it will. Maybe I'm being silly. Won't be the first time, won't be the last time. We will set the playoff roster. I am not leaving a good performer and Rivera off the roster in exchange for a guy who's barely touched the roster. Don't be fucking silly. I like that it's keeping Vigil over Carrillo. That I agree with. And I'm going to drop Trudell to keep Dunlap because I want that extra center fielder. Oh, you're keeping Trudell over Wall. That I'm okay with, actually. Oh, we're carrying 14 pitchers. How do I feel about that? We're not carrying 14 pitchers. We're just carrying 13. Okay. That's fine. Let's see if we can make it past the first round. Amazing. All right, nice. Good job. not great job. On to the next round, baby. Very nice. Until the next playoff round, please. Ooh, Bork screwed up. That's unfortunate. And yeah, we're losing low-scoring games. That's not great. Like, we should be winning low-scoring games. I can't add him to the actual team yet, but duly noted. Yeah, we just got swept in a game in which we didn't manage 3 runs in a game. Man. Fucking Joel Volper, you goddamn traitor. No, it's fine. I don't know what happened. The offense disappeared like a fart in the wind. How the hell did Sean DeWitt only play 7 at-bats? What was he doing the other at-bats? That is nuts. Man, I don't want the fucking Yankees to be the winner. That's disgusting. No bueno. The Angels and the Marlins. Not a combination I expected to hear from, but I'm alright with that. Damn, Marlins. You didn't even show up. I've decided I'm going to opt out of McDevitt's contract. That was just something I never expected to say would be the right decision, but it's the right decision. Yeah, it is the right call. See you later, McDevitt. Fan loyalty. Couple of coaches retire. I got a 3-year extension. Cooper Golby's leaving. Angel Matos is leaving. Nice. Okay. Each decision of the entire offseason. Done. Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah, that's the easy decision I'm gonna make all off season. I'm just gonna say, you know what, you want to come back? Great, you're coming back at a pay cut. You weren't there when we needed you the most. I'm a little sad about that. I'm a little bit sad. I'm not going to do any of this stuff right now. I'm going to save it for next episode. But I do want to make sure that I did that because Chris McDevitt has been a really good pitcher for us. A really good pitcher. That's not disputable. We don't have one of our rings without his amazing performance in the postseason. He is not worth $40 million a year. He was last year. Last year he was worth about $40 million to us. But not any other year other than 2038. I'm paying ace money for a number 3 starter. And that just doesn't make sense to me. It's going to make the fans cranky, but it's the right decision. It's the best move for this team. It lets us add in other talent in other ways that makes us more competitive going forward. What went well this season? Who stepped up and performed at a high level to the best of their ability? Sean DeWitt, not a surprise. Actually, one of the best home run totals of his career. I think 40 is his new career high. But he was just a sensational player. I wish we'd stop putting him in center. I don't think he's a great center fielder, but he's been an excellent player. No complaints there. Ishmael Alanis proved me right. I thought when we would acquire, we would get a really good second baseman for a couple of seasons, and damned if I wasn't accurate. Pretty solid defensively, really good offensively. A nice addition to the club. Ben Schmidt came to the A's and started playing at an extremely high level. If he can work out, we have so much more flexibility, it's not even funny. I'm really excited to let him come back for another season. Robbie Herbertson. I think this is what he is right now. He's an average third baseman with a little bit of offensive skill, but he's rarely, if ever, going to be an all-star. That's probably fine, but it is also disappointing, to say the least. He doesn't hit for enough power. He should not be hitting for a total of 32 extra base hits. That's way too low. We got to sing 40, even into the low 50s. But 30 is not good enough for an offensive player of his capabilities. I think the early returns on the Brad Rice experiment say he's worth bringing back for another season to see what he can do. Tim Wall, meh. Sean Mintz, meh. There's a lot of meh in this lineup. Jesus Barrera was actually a really useful player this year. We decided to start playing Baze, and I think that was the right call, too. Mike Baccio was awful. Truly, truly awful. And what's especially frustrating is I can't get rid of him. Nobody's going to take him off my hands. Not a single soul. Maybe somebody will take him off my hands. I did not expect this. If somebody else is going to look at him and think I can fix him, they're entitled to do so. I will allow them that privilege and get a player who's more useful for my purposes. Not really a catcher. Good hitter, though. I like Kaleha a lot. I wonder if I could get Kaleha and somebody else. Is that crazy? Am I being ridiculous if I ask for anything else? There's a lot to like about Devin Beam. I gotta be honest with you. There's a lot to like about him, but you're not gonna give him up. How about Andy Gregg? If I can get a player like Andy Craig for fucking Tim Wall, done. Andy Gregg has so much raw potential. This is a layup. An absolute layup. I almost feel like I should ask for somebody else too. What about Mike Pentagis? No, I'm not going to do that. That's a bridge too far, I think. I will ask for Oliver Pulido. maybe? I'm going to sim a little bit of the offseason because I have to see if I can make this trade work. You're asking for mediocre prospects, but I don't think it's worth it to me. I'm going to drop Pulido and just make this trade. That was such a missed bullet. I feel so much better about our team now. Adding Andy Gregg and Juan Calleja. Like, I think Andy Gregg is quite legitimately a very good position player. He's a pretty decent outfielder with lots of speed and enough offensive tools that I think he can be a big-time contributor. I think that's a home run trade, and that's all I'm going to say about that. I really like the way that worked out for us. Let's talk about pitching now. Pamphile was goddamn ridiculous once again. It is obscene that our best pitcher once again is our reliever, but he's just that bloody good, and I'm here for it. McDevitt was really good. Wilfredo Rivera was good. Stoll was good. Edwards was decent. Yeah. I'm going to be a little sad to see McDevitt go, but honestly, we're making the right decision. We have so much money now to spend to make the team better. I think it was the right call. I truly believe it was the right call. I'm going to end the episode. This was an interesting episode, but I think it was a good one. I think you've really seen what the future could look like for the Oakland A's. We've reshuffled the outfield again. And we're just going to keep doing it until we find 3 outfielders that can contribute at a decent level. The last time, if we go down a trip down memory lane, that I could tell you definitively that we had three great outfielders was... Let's see here. I'm really struggling. We've only ever had one, at most 2 good outfielders at the same time, in my opinion. Wasn't this the one year that Diasmel Minor was actually a really good hitter? Was in 2036? Let me take a look. He was okay in 2036. And then how good was Estrada that year? Uh, 2037 wasn't a terrible year for our outfield. What if I do positional? What if I do batters registers? No, that doesn't help. That just gives us the whole kit and caboodle. That's it. We have not historically had great outfields. So I think it's really incumbent upon us to bring in that. To see that Ben Schmidt and Sean DeWitt and Andy Gregg have a really good year. Man, Andy Gregg could be something insane. I'm really excited about him in oh so many ways. I really think we've got a good choice there. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of the series. Let me know how crazy you think I'm to let Chris McDevitt walk. I don't think I'm crazy at all, by the way. I will happily, if he wants to come back on the qualifying offer, amazing. I'm more than happy to bring him back and give him a hearty thump on the back. Not a moment's hesitation to bring him back. Not a moment's. But I also would like to get a draft pick. And I think that would be equally good. And now it can actually be a player in free agency. We can try to take on salary. How did Anderson play at catcher? Armstrong, sorry. Armstrong was okay. I still think we need to see a little bit more out of him before we can commit to maybe considering him as the starter. But we have some genuinely elite pitching talent, which is why I can lose a pitcher like Chris McDevitt and feel reasonably confident about our ability to bounce back from that. Yeah. Was Archie Edwards? Archie Edwards was a first-round draft pick. That's right. Mike Eli was also a third-round draft pick from the Gar Memorial. Gar. I'm properly pleased with our pitching potential. I just got to get outfielders to stick around. I've got to get good outfielders playing good. And then we'll start to see some real improvements there. I think shortstop is a definite growth area. While I'm certainly not displeased by having Dan Bies to play shortstop for a year or two, I don't think that he's the future. I think he's good enough for the present. I think he'd be a wonderful reserve, but I don't think he's a starting caliber shortstop. I think Brad Rice still has room to grow. But I like what we got. I just need a tiny bit more than what we got. And I think we'll see some good things there. I like to see Nelson Vigil destroy spring training and force me to make a hard decision about Robbie Herbertson. That is what I'd love to see. This kid has so much raw talent. You don't even know how much talent he has. This is a guy who could be hitting 300 with 35 to 40 home runs and a bunch of walks. If you look at his scouting profile, you think it would be a 270. Okay. 270 is, I think he should be higher than 270 if he reaches his full potential, but fine. With really good base running instinct, which means he's probably going to steal 15 to 20 bases every year. Maybe as many as 25 or 30. If there's a hole in his game, it's that he's not a super brilliant third baseman, but neither is Robbie Herbertson. Herbertson is arguably worse. So, there's a real upgrade coming if Nelson Vigil can make some strides in the offseason and really work towards things in spring training. All for the low, low price of $4.728 million. Assuming he works out. I think Vigil is going to be one of our next big things. Okay, my friends, I hope you have enjoyed this episode. If you have, please remember to like and subscribe. Until next time, this has been Guardian. Thank you for watching, and a very happy new year to you and your family.